Welcome to the Rockstar Principles Podcast, coming straight to you from Rock and Roll, USA, covering the latest and greatest in educational leadership trends, news, and awesomeness for principals all over the world. Now, here are your hosts, the boss, John Ross, and the Doctor of Proctors, Nick Indeglio.
Elli is the boss. 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 Elli is the boss.
Hi, my name is Elli Ross, and this is a segment called Elli Asks the Rockstar Principals Questions about movies she hasn't seen.
That sounds great. Good job. So what movie are we going to talk about, Elli Ross?
X-Men, The Days of the Future, The Past.
Days of Future Past, which was a movie that you wanted to see, but your mean father wouldn't let you go see.
Yeah.
Now let's set the stage here, Elli. How old are you?
I'm 8.
And you're in what grade?
2nd.
So, you can't blame Dad for being skeptical about a PG-13 movie.
I do have some parenting skills.
It's wonderful. So we are now, since last week we started with Godzilla, Elli is now really going to take this over and she's going to do this thing.
So tell us about the X-Men movies that you've seen so far. Have you seen all of them? Have you seen all of the movies so far? And we're going to start by asking you a question. Who's your favorite character in X-Men movies?
Jean.
You like Jean? Mm-hmm. Jean Grey? Okay. Okay, good. You have any questions, Nick, before we start?
No, liking Jean Grey shows me she has some good affection for the X-Men universe. So I'm ready. Let's do this.
So Elli very much wanted to see X-Men Days of Future Past. Nick and I went to see it, left her at home, and now she can't see it until we do this segment. So she's basically been waiting for us to record this segment so that she can go see the movie.
Fantastic.
Which gives me an excuse to go see it again.
I was going to say that.
Which is my ulterior motive. So, all right, without further ado, go ahead, Elli. Ask away. Question number 1.
Who is alive?
Who is alive?
Wow, she goes right for it. Jugular.
Goodness
Spoiler
gracious.
alert.
Who is alive?
In the beginning? At the end?
Beginning.
At the beginning.
Oh, tough one. Well, at the beginning, the movie starts off in the future, and the only X-Men left that you actually know is Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Storm, and Iceman. I forget his name.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name.
Plus a couple other smaller...
Yeah, ones you didn't really see in the other
X-Men
movies. But yeah, that's before they go into the past.
Right. Okay, so that's who's alive at the beginning. But then they actually go into the past, and then when they go into the past, a bunch of the other X-Men, something has happened that's caused those X-Men to no longer be alive. So they go into the past to try to fix that, is basically what happens. Next question?
Who is dead in the beginning? So, people that aren't in the beginning.
Wow, we know for sure that Beast is dead, because we're told that. All the characters who died in X-Men 3 are still dead. Any other major characters?
Well, there's the whole question about Professor X and, how is he alive? He was dead at one point.
Right.
Because that was in 3 that he died, right?
Yes.
So, he's now back alive. And we talked about that after the movie and how they didn't really go into much detail explaining it, but we kind of put together some of the minor scenes that...
might have explained it.
Yeah, that kind of alluded to it. Again, we don't really spoil it for anybody, but
yeah,
he's back alive, Professor X. Go ahead, next question.
What is your favorite part in the movie?
My favorite part in the movie? My favorite part in the movie would have to be when they go back in the past, and they meet a character named Quicksilver, and his mutant power is that he's very, very fast. And at one point, anytime he uses his powers, the scenes are really, really cool. But they use him to help break Magneto out of prison. And I like that scene where he uses his suit. Because everybody else kind of goes in the frozen motion. And you see Quicksilver going kind of at his regular speed. And so some of the stuff he does is pretty funny. So yeah, that's a cool scene. How about you, Nick?
I think you stole my. That would have been my favorite scene. However, for fan service, I'll pick a different scene, and I will say when Wolverine finally, at the end of the movie, wakes up once again in his own body, in his own time, and sees how the future has changed after the climax of the movie. That would be my favorite part.
That's a good one too.
What is this movie about?
What is the movie about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we said, essentially something has happened that has caused the number of X-Men to decrease significantly. Something is killing them off. And in their last-ditch effort to try to rectify that, to try to fix that, what's her name? Kitty
Pryde.
She's able to send Wolverine, not actually Wolverine back into the past, but she sends his consciousness, his current consciousness, back into his body from in the past. So it'd be like if I said to you right now, I could take you and everything that you know, and I could put it in your body when you were 4. Think about how much smarter you would be as a 4-year-old and how many things you would know as a 4-year-old. It'd be like taking your brain and putting it in you when you were 4. Does that kind of explain it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good explanation.
So the whole idea is that they're sending Wolverine back to kind of go back and fix this situation that has caused all of these problems to exist in the world.
Is Jean in this movie?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Wow.
You want to handle that one, Nick? How?
Okay, let me set it up a certain way.
Without spoiling it, I don't know how you answer that question.
I think I can.
Okay.
Now, Ellie, you saw the first 3 X-Men movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any of the movies just about Wolverine?
Yeah, I saw the one that you
The first
told.
one.
The first one, but not the second one.
Not the second one.
Okay. In the second one, Wolverine has nightmares that Jean are in. Jean's in the nightmares. So the character who plays her is there, but it's not real, it's nightmares. But the answer for Wolverine 2 would be yes, she was in the movie, because technically she was. So what I will say about X-Men Days of Future Past is the actress that plays Jean is in the movie.
Playing that character. Right. It's a good answer.
Does Wolverine kill anyone?
That should go without saying.
Did you have to ask that question?
Wow. Yeah, he kills pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
He kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of killing with his claws and with his old claws. So you get a little bit of both. And he looks quite handsome and very cut. Also.
Yes.
He's very muscular.
Hugh jacked up as opposed to Hugh Jackman. That's what I did there.
I like that. Little work with that.
Since he does kill some people, can you name some people that he does kill?
Ooh.
Well, you kind of spoil it. Wouldn't that kind of spoil the movie if we tell you who he does kill?
Oh, we could. Yeah, he kills some mobsters.
That's true. Some bad guys.
Some bad guys in the beginning. He tries to kill some of there's robots called Sentinels that are characters in the movie. He kills a couple of those.
I don't think he actually kills any other mutants.
Doesn't. I don't think he. No, it doesn't. It's not like X-Men 2 where he fights Lady Deathstroke.
This is again the mutants kind of joining forces, and that's kind of the cool part is that when Wolverine goes back in time, he has to convince Magneto and Professor X, who are enemies, right? Remember how they were friends, but then they became enemies? Well, when he goes back, it's like right at the peak of when they really don't like each other. And the future Magneto and Professor X are friends. And so he has to kind of use what they know to convince the past versions of them to be friends and work together. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So that's kind of cool to see the younger Magneto and Professor X, who you know aren't supposed to get along, and Wolverine kind of helps foster their friendship and get them to work together to try to fix this problem. Although they don't entirely work together, they work together somewhat, partially.
Which brings about the question throughout the movie is, can you really change the past? And that's a big theme throughout the whole movie.
Right.
And that's all the questions I have.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all you want to know?
I saw the trailer and that sort of...
Those are the questions that came out of seeing the trailer?
They sort of answered some of my questions,
right.
so...
So, Ellie, let me ask you this before we end the segment. How did it feel when you were sitting at the house watching Dad and Natalie leave the house to go see X-Men without you?
I was really disappointed, and I really wanted to just sneak in the car with them and watch the movie with them.
That's a good. I like your idea.
Yeah.
Once again, you're messing up my plan, which is to get me to be able to go back and see the movie a second time. You have to understand my ulterior motives here.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Also, it was. Yeah, I would say it's good parenting to check it out first. I mean,
Yeah, it's a little. There's
Yeah.
parts I think might be a little intense for her,
Yeah.
but I think she'll be all right.
a couple earmuff spots.
Right.
One or two of those.
Potty mouth, or a little bit of potty mouth. Nothing she hasn't heard her mother say around the house, though.
I would never. Julie would never say anything like that. If you're hearing an ambient noise in the background, it's Thor, who is
Breathing heavily.
breathing
into the
heavily
microphone.
and just being a general nuisance.
Thor being a dog, not Thor the superhero.
Thor the dog.
And also, like, on last weekend, Natalie and I went to see Maleficent,
Ooh.
and at the end, we saw X-Men was right next to Maleficent, and I was like, hey, Natalie, do you want to go see X-Men again? And she was like, I wish.
So we're gonna do the whole sneak into another movie theater.
We used to call it the double feature.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a segment where Bella asks Ellie questions about
Movies
Maleficent.
Maleficent. I've actually heard I heard good things about
They liked it,
Maleficent.
right? You liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
I could ask some questions. I'm curious.
We'd have to get
about
Natalie
Maleficent.
here too, so you got two people to answer.
All
All right, good stuff.
right, well, Ellie, you have to wrap up the segment for us, so close it out.
What would you say at the end? That's all, folks.
Thanks for listening. You got to give us something.
We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening. We'll be right back with more of the Rockstar Principles.
There you go.
Yeah, that was
That
awesome.
works. Nice job.
Better than we do.
And now a word from our fake sponsors. But we'd really love if they were our real sponsors. Seriously, we would love it.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Welcome back to the Rockstar Principles podcast, and it is time for yet another segment of the middle school Mafia leadership lessons from Mafia movies. Done a few segments so far of various well-known Mafia movies, and I'm going to go with a personal favorite of mine for the segment this time around. Those of you that know me and some of my teachers who I know listen, who've heard me speak, know I've referred to this particular movie and this particular quote several times. The movie's called A Bronx Tale. It's a fantastic movie written by the actor Chaz Palminteri. Robert De Niro stars in the movie, among others.
Shocking.
Yeah, what a surprise. It's a stretch of a role for him. But actually in this movie, De Niro doesn't play. De Niro just plays a regular guy trying to raise his kid in the early 1960s in Bronx, New York. And his son, throughout the movie, is seeing the lifestyle of Sonny, the local mafia guy, and he's trying to, he's trying to keep his son on the straight and narrow. And one of the things that even from when his son is very young, and as he grows older, this repeating over and over again refrain that he kind of drubs into his son's head is what I wanted to talk about in this segment. So with that, maybe we'll play the sound clip at this point.
Sonny, my father, always said that when I get older, I would understand. Well, I finally did. I learned something from these two men. I learned to give love and get love unconditionally. You just have to accept people for what they are. And I learned the greatest gift of all. The saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And the choices that you make will shape your life forever. But you can ask anybody from my neighborhood, and they'll just tell you, this is just another Bronx tale. On the streets of the...
All right, and there you have it. So the quote is, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And Lorenzo, the character that Robert De Niro plays, talking to his son and trying to make the point to his son that he has talent and that there are others that have talent, and how when you have talent in particular areas, of how it's incumbent upon you, you actually have a responsibility to use that talent and not let it go to waste. And this, in terms of leadership, in particular school leadership, for me at least, really begs the question about, is leadership something that is inherent, or is it something that can be taught? Is it a talent, or is it something that you can learn about and learn how to do? And I think that's a debate that goes back and forth. I've heard both sides of that argument. I, for one, happen to think that a majority of what you do in a leadership position is a talent. It's something that you just have naturally, a gift that you have naturally. And that's sure, you can learn, and people can learn how to do school leadership and how to be good at running a school, but that there's a certain amount of talent that is necessary in order to be effective, in order to do well. So, you can think about parallels to that, and how, people that may have the talent, how it should be used and how they should maximize it and how they should be putting it toward what's best for schools. About how, for instance, people that are outstanding school leaders who leave the principalship for whatever reason, and how that's, a waste of that talent if that talent isn't being put to use in running schools, whether it's to move up the chain of command to central office, or even retirees, or people that, I think what's becoming more common is people that leave the profession altogether mid-career, very early on, people that just get burned out, people that have hit a brick wall in terms of, all of the things that take a toll on you when running a building. But there's also a segment, and there's some school leaders that I've come across, and I guess I would think about even my own career at times. Not that I'm talented, or I would categorize myself as talented, but I kind of use it as a motivation for me, just to kind of keep you on point and keep you focused and keep you motivated, that you don't want to waste what you have. For instance, we're very fortunate to be in a great school with very talented kids, very talented teachers, and a great community, and to not make the most of that, to me, would be a waste of all that talent. So I think there's a lot of parallels, and I've used this. Most recently, I used this quote at our National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony a couple of weeks ago, making the point to our National Junior Honor Society kids that that they have a talent that's kind of helped them to get to this point, and that they should make the most of it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking when it comes to that quote.
I think you can expand the notion of talent as well. While I definitely believe in such things as genetic talent, and certain types of athletes are predisposed to have a genetic makeup that will give them an opportunity to be better at certain things. However, great book by Jeff Colvin called "Talent is Overrated," where it basically talks about what's needed to be successful and how many intense hours of practice and perfect practice go into that. So to some degree, I would say it's the worst thing in life is also wasted opportunity. So, we're given the opportunity to teach in such a great place where we don't have some of the problems that other places have. It's incumbent upon us to take advantage of that. And I guess part of the question is how do you teach or foster that, and can you? For whatever reason, I always recognized how hard my dad worked in order to provide us a comfortable lifestyle.
Right.
And I felt like internally it was my responsibility to do well in school and to make the most out of that opportunity. But that was no one explicitly told me that. It was just something that I always kind of felt watching my dad. You know what I mean? The expectation was I would go to college, and I was like, wow, well, I can go to college, so I will. And I've been blessed, and I did well, and now I can do this. So I guess the question goes even deeper then, and I don't want to segue too far off topic, but how do you make someone realize that, or can you? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I think when I think of some of the best teachers and best students and overall just great human beings that I've been fortunate enough to come in contact with, they are people who have a talent, and they recognize that they're fortunate to have that talent. They appreciate the talent. They foster it. They do what they can to improve upon it, but they don't take it for granted. They don't let it go to waste. You can think of athletics, as you mentioned, or intellect, or performance art, music, whatever. They're truly great performers are people that recognize that they have that talent and make the most of it. And I think the same holds true. I think there's a large degree of an art to school leadership. There's certainly a large part of it that is an art when it comes to leading a school. And as with any art, it can be inherent and it can be a talent, and there can be ways that you can learn to do it better as well. And I just think when you're in those positions, you have a responsibility to make the most of it. And by taking the easy way out, or by sliding, you hit this time of year, for example, and you think about the last couple of weeks of school and about how easy it is to just kind of start to pack it in and start just saying, oh, I've only got a couple of weeks left. Let me just kind of put a Band-Aid on this until I get through the rest of the year. And how when you do that, you're shortchanging your kids, you're shortchanging your teachers, and not giving them the most to what you can do. So while in a sense, the example from Bronx Tale, he's talking about talent, I think overall just the responsibilities of the job and not wasting the opportunities that we have, whether it's because of talent or any other area, trying to make the most of that time.
And De Niro, I think, also he's also speaking to Sonny's choice of lifestyle, and
right.
that had he, with the talents that he had
right.
he chosen a different,
yeah,
the straight and narrow, let's say,
yeah.
He could have. And the interesting thing in that comes with the story is that you look at how things end up, and Sonny pays the price for the lifestyle he chose.
Right.
And in a way, it validates De Niro's argument. However, at the end, De Niro's also saying, "Hey, I respected him. I respected
right.
that he saved you, and that he was a benefit."
He's not gloating at all at the fact that what he was prophesizing came true.
Right.
But I definitely think that part of what his character Lorenzo sees is as a certain jealousy of Sonny, and not a jealousy of what Sonny has. Right. But a jealousy of this charisma that he has, not of possessions that he has, but a jealousy of this leadership kind of ability mm-hmm. that he has, because Lorenzo is a bus driver, and he understands that, and he doesn't think less of himself because he's a bus driver. But I think he really feels like if you look into the character more, I think he recognizes that if he had a little bit of what Sonny has, that he could have maybe made more of himself, and that only frustrates him more when he sees it going to waste by a guy that's living a life like Sonny's living.
Right. Yeah, and translating that to opportunity again. A couple weeks ago, John showed me a clip from an HBO special. It's like a documentary, and it highlighted an inner city Chicago school that was tailored to emotionally disturbed behavioral students. So
it's called Vice. The documentary series is called Vice on HBO, and it was I forget what the episode was called. It was like the School of Hard Knocks, or the school, I can't remember what it was. But go ahead, yeah. But
we were, in watching the clips and stuff and realizing the challenges those people were up against, we were contemplating, and a lot of this is always theoretical, hypothetical, whatever you want to call it. What would it be like to show this to our staff? And I was having a conversation later with my assistant principal just about that, and like, man, it kind of makes you realize, how lucky we are.
That's right, Thor.
Thor's about to bark at the neighbor outside, which is ridiculous because he knows the neighbor. Thor, knock it off, bud. Hey, come on, stop.
We can edit that out later.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to edit that out.
That'd be too much work.
Yeah, put all that work in. It's like at 11 minutes. No, but back to the point, and
Last Chance High. That's the name of it. It's a documentary series called Vice, and it was called Last Chance High. Was this episode?
So Rob said, he goes, but how many of our staff would look at it and just say, well, that's not us, and it's we want to make sure discipline stays tight here, so it doesn't become that. And it was one of those things where you do realize that a lot of people, regardless of the example you use and whatnot, instead of embracing the opportunity, will choose to either close your eyes to it or just basically keep on living like you're already living. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just
it's very difficult because, and I think it does equate to what we're talking about here with the quote, because you certainly want to acknowledge that you can be better. that there's things that you can do better from a leadership perspective, and there's nothing wrong with with taking that input from people. If people feel as though there's things that we could be doing better as a school, but when you hear the constant from particular individuals, the constant down on the school mentality and feeling as though things are so rough and things are so bad, and you watch 5 minutes of this documentary of this school in inner city Chicago, and you think, God, I wouldn't last 30 seconds running that building.
Right.
I wouldn't last 30 seconds trying to teach in that building. It does give you an appreciation for what you have. And I think, again, when it comes to talent, that with Lorenzo's frustration is that he doesn't think Sonny realizes how lucky he is.
Yeah.
That Sonny has this talent, and it's frustrating to him because Sonny does not realize how lucky he is. He's not making the most of it. He's just thinking short term, financially, how I can be successful and financially in my neighborhood, and how maybe bigger things could happen for him if he was, using his powers for good rather than evil.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating.
So, one of my favorites, as I said, A Bronx Tale, really great movie, and certainly fits into our scheme of middle school mafia, because there's definitely a mafia component. There's a lot of great lines from that movie, but the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So those of you listening are obviously talented individuals looking to get better. You've chosen to listen to the Rockstar Principal podcast, and we appreciate that. Just don't let that talent go to waste. Anything else you want to add, Dr. Nick?
Yeah, what was now it's escaping me.
I was trying to wrap up there, but now you're going to bring us back.
We'll wrap it up. There was a superhero movie that tied in, that just, the quote came into my head and then it left me completely, and I can't think of it.
You know what that means? That means you're getting old like me.
Iron Man. Not Iron Man. When Iron Man and the doctor, he's in the first movie, when he's in the caves after he gets captured.
Yeah.
And when his buddy, the other doctor helps him break out, is dying, he says, your gift is your life, don't waste it.
Or, here you go, Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
Tom Hanks dying at the end. He says, earn this. It wasn't until like the third time I saw that movie that I realized that that's what he was saying. I was ashamed to admit the first couple of times I saw the movie that I didn't understand. What did he just say? And I didn't want to be the guy in the theater that said, what did he just say?
Especially at a moment like that.
Yeah, right. And it was spoiling for everybody, but I missed it. I didn't get anybody get that? I missed it. Maybe it was just me.
God, 3 times is a lot of times to watch that.
I'm pretty sure it was like the third time it took me to get that. Yeah. Jeez. But maybe the second. Give myself a little bit of credit. Yeah. Maybe it was the second.
Another great movie.
Absolutely.
All right, enough of that.
All right, we will wrap it up there. We'll be right back with more of the Rockstar Principals podcast.
Commercials. We're always doing them for other people. But now, something so amazing has happened, John. We've got to talk about it ourselves.
What?
Before, we used to give you all these links. Here's how you get to the episodes. Here's how you get to our Twitter.
I've got them all written down here on my handy-dandy notebook.
Yeah, that's how you find stuff, right?
Right.
No longer.
Wait a minute. What did you do?
Now, you can go to rockstarprinciples.com.
Wait a second. It can't be that easy. Hold on. I'm at my computer.
rockstarprinciples.com.
Look at that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on the internet. Well, not really live, but we have a live website on the internet, rockstarprinciples.com. All of your needs for the fans of the Rockstar Principals right here on one website. We've got the different podcast episodes. If you want to listen to them via the website, via iTunes and Stitcher, you can do that. And in fact, Nick even put a player. What is this called? A media player, right?
Media player.
On the website.
Yeah.
And when I hit play here, it goes right. Let me go back to the beginning and see what happens.
Welcome to the Rockstar Principals podcast.
This is us
coming straight to you from
listening
to us. You're listening to us, listening to us.
It's amazing.
How does that work? Look, wait, let me just skip ahead.
Best platform possible.
Look at that.
Really
That's Nick talking.
Education
You can go to a website and listen to Nick talk. And me. There's me talking.
Right.
There's both of us. Wait, I just said right. Is this confusing the heck out of you now?
It's like looking
Okay,
at the
I'll
multiple
stop it.
mirrors.
But yeah, you can play our podcast right there off of the website. What else is on here, Nick?
Oh my God, you name it, it's on here. First of all, you've got, like you said, you can get to our podcast any format you want. You can listen to it from the main website, from iTunes, from Stitcher. You can read some of our editorials. You can look at some of the quotes we post
do editorials?
on Twitter.
I didn't know we were doing. How come you do all the editorials?
You can do an editorial.
I want to do an editorial.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
You can go back there. Yeah, I think we make it open in a new window. Isn't that
Yeah.
cool? You can link to our Storify. When we do our PAESSP chats, you've got that there. And then from the top of the page, you can link to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn profile, our Twitter page. I mean, it is all.
You can email us.
You can email us.
Drop us a line and leave a message. Our phone number's on there. There's even a little part that's about us. If you'd like to get a little bit more information about Jon and Nick.
Our biographies are up there.
Yes.
But most importantly,
Yes?
let's reference our services page, because this is brand new. You haven't seen this yet, folks. The Rockstar Principals are now beginning to advertise our own services. What can we do for you? Pretty much anything, folks.
Well, really, I mean,
seriously.
we have speaking engagements and consulting services listed here, but, I got a snowblower. You want us to come take you out in the snow? I got kids. I can bring them over. We can rake the leaves in your front yard. We'll do yard work.
Babysit.
Wash your car. We're available. Yeah, hit us up. You've got an idea and, within driving distance of Berks County, Pennsylvania. Unless you want to pay for the airfare. I mean, if you're listening from around the world, obviously the cost will include the airfare for us to come to you. For
the snowblower, too.
Well, yeah. I
That's
would
gonna
think
cost
you
some money.
probably have a snowblower of your own would probably be more economical. But
Yeah, but you put it out there, so now we have to do it if they.
well, I'm saying I'll come and push your snowblower to help get you out. Rather than pay to fly my snowblower to your house, if you have a snowblower, pay for me to fly to your house to push your snowblower.
Maybe we could have that be like an add-on service too. Like, we'll come and consult for you
Right.
at your school.
And then
we'll
just
go
for free,
snowblow.
we'll free, no matter, even if it's in August,
Yeah.
we'll bring our snowblower.
Fantastic. But hey, if you like what we do, we're available for speaking engagements, consulting services, and we're going to be doing a lot of presenting coming up this summer and all through the next year or so.
One engagement we already have, Dr. Nick.
Yeah, we're lined up this July in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right, for the NAESP conference, the annual National Association of Elementary School Principals Conference. The Rockstar Principals will be speaking in Nashville at that conference. Something to look forward to if you happen to be going that way.
So we're just going to rock the world. We are awesome. I mean,
you, my friend, are the awesome one for setting this incredible website up.
and what is that website? Rockstarprincipals.com. But guess what? If you have a mobile device or an iPad and you don't like to try to look at the entire site, which you can at rockstarprincipals.com, then you can go to our mobile site at m.rockstarprincipals.com, and you can look at our mobile site. We're just rocking the world, because that's what we do. We're rock stars.
I'm looking at our YouTube channel.
Yeah, isn't that pretty cool?
There's a video on there that we made that has 68,000 views.
Yeah, I'd like to see that video keep pulling more views as time goes on.
Well, if the snow keeps up, maybe we
That's
can.
true.
Maybe people will come back to it again once the snow starts hitting again.
Yeah,
You never know.
I think we've
Pretty cool website, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Anything else we want to say for the good of the cause?
Rockstarprincipals.com. Rockstarprincipals.com.
Eat, sleep, rock, repeat.
Welcome back to the Rockstar Principals podcast. We have an article review today. You can see it on our Twitter account at RCKSTRPrincipal. That's our Twitter feed. And this article is called 10 Life Lessons from a Navy SEAL. And it explains in the prologue that Naval Admiral William H. McRaven returned to his alma mater last week and spoke to the graduates with lessons he learned from his basic SEAL training. This was the University of Texas. He gave the commencement speech, and the life lessons were always nice in a list, numbered. And what I'm going to do is let me read you this list of lessons, and then Jon and I are just going to offer our input on just a few of them.
Okay.
And basically, I'll read through, and then John, you see what strikes your fancy, and we'll go from there.
You're going to go through all 10?
Yeah, I'll read through all 10, and then
we can go back and talk about our favorites.
Number 1, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. Number 2, if you want to change the world, find someone to help you paddle. Number 3, if you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not the size of their flippers. Number 4, if you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. That's interesting, a sugar cookie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one.
That's a good one, especially with the circus analogy.
Yeah.
Number 5, but if you want to change the world, don't be afraid of the circuses. Number 6, if you want to change the world, sometimes you have to slide down the obstacle head first. I like that one. Number 7, if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. That's another good one. Number 8, if you want to change the world, you must be your very best in the darkest moment. These are all good.
They are.
Number 9, if you want to change the world, start singing when you're up to your neck in mud. And number 10, if you want to change the world, don't ever, ever ring the bell. And that speaks to the slogan we've talked about before, don't ever give up.
Right.
With the frog being eaten by the crane.
Yeah.
The frog still has his hands wrapped around the neck
Yeah,
of the crane.
so that, as with any of these things, you can see, you'll see that there's parallels to other things that we've talked about. I think of things like Whitaker and some of the movies that we've quoted.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different parallels in here. But let's get right to the heart of the matter, the sugar cookie. If you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. And this is my favorite for multiple reasons. Number 1, the sugar cookie analogy. Again, this gentleman is a former Navy SEAL, and he talked about how in training, when you had your uniform inspection, if there was anything wrong, if anything didn't pass, which inevitably that would happen, you had to run fully clothed into the surf and get totally wet, and then you would have to roll around on the beach until every part of your body was covered with sand, and this became known as being a sugar cookie. And you stayed in that for the rest of the day. So imagine that. Fully clothed in your Navy uniform, run into the ocean, come out, roll around in the sand, and that's what you stay in for the rest of the day. I'm uncomfortable if I get like sand in my bathing suit
yes.
for like 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine being completely dipped in wet sand and spending the rest of the day in that. But as he talks about that, there was a lot of students who just couldn't accept the fact that no matter how hard they tried to get their uniforms right, that there was always something wrong. When in reality, the inspectors always found something wrong, whether there was something wrong or not. But he talked about how, the ones that couldn't accept that fact didn't make it through training. They didn't last because they just couldn't deal with the fact that there was always something wrong. And his point is that sometimes no matter how well you prepare or how well you perform, you still end up as a sugar cookie. It's just that way in life sometimes. And that's absolutely the mantra that I need to start using. This is the best way of putting it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because what I frequently find myself saying is, life sucks, get over it, something along those lines. And this is a much better analogy because it's absolutely true that everyone in their life is going to have days where you're a sugar cookie. It's going to happen. It's part of the process of living is failing.
Right.
If you're not failing at things, you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing yourself. You're not truly living.
And the lesson also, because that lesson in particular goes deeper. The Navy SEALs are put into situations where you can't train for unknown situations. They don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So you think you've got everything perfect.
Yeah.
You've done steps 1 through 10 to make your uniform perfect. Then all of a sudden someone tells you you're not perfect. If your brain can't immediately accept that and expand past it to intake the new reality, you're screwed.
Right.
You're going to die. You can't survive real life that way. And I think that's extremely relevant to the principalship when you're being hit every minute of the day with things from what are we ordering for the staff party to we have to make an instructional decision about what the rubric's going to cut kids off getting into Algebra 2. I mean...
Right. And when I frequently say, get over it, life sucks, move on, I'm talking about what I say to myself.
Right.
I'm not talking about what I say to other people. I'm talking about, in our position,
you're constantly barraged, as Nick was saying, with these kinds of things. With all due respect, if you're not currently doing the job of a principal, you have no clue what it's like.
No.
If you've either moved on to central office and you've been out of the principalship for more than 2 or 3 years, you really have no clue. And if you're not a principal yet, if you're an aspiring principal, if you're a teacher who wants to become a principal or a teacher who just likes listening to us talk, you really do not know, you don't have an inkling of what it's like.
And that's fine.
And I'm just as quick to say the other way around too,
Sure.
that I don't have an inkling what it's like to be a teacher or an inkling what it's like to be a central office person. But the difference is that we're constantly being told how to do our jobs by people from central office and by people in the classroom, and that's not necessarily the case, vice versa.
And for the aspiring principals, as long as you're willing to accept that when you become, a principal, when you get your first AP job, that you're going to be the sugar cookie more days than not, then you're okay.
Just ask our assistant principals. They'll tell you. Basically, any day we're a sugar cookie, they're a sugar cookie. And then days when I'm feeling good, they're a sugar cookie too. Just because I want to see a sugar cookie that day.
I was on the Boston trip last week. We have an overnight trip for our 7th grade class, so
yeah.
I go just basically as a nuclear deterrent. I do nothing on the trip. I just basically sit there in case something bad happens. And Rob is back running things at the building. So this morning he came in and I said, "Hey, next week are you coming to my daughter's birthday party?" He's like, "Oh no, I got something to do." So I took a Post-it note and I wrote on top of the Post-it note, "Nick's shit list." I put Rob. Number 2, I put one of the terrorists from the 5 that just got released. I forget who number 3 was. But Rob's like, I did 10 million things for you last week when you were having fun in Boston.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's your turn to be the sugar cookie.
You're
not coming to my kid's birthday party. Yeah. All right, so the other one I wanted to talk about, just because, again, it really strikes with me, is number 7. If you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. And the reason I like this one so much is one of my favorite leadership books is called Leadership by Rudy Giuliani. Just an outstanding, I feel, just an awesome leadership book. And one of his big things is stand up to bullies. And this is something that in my own leadership I've had to learn, that you cannot allow yourself, either publicly or privately, to be bullied. That even when there are people that are in positions of authority over you, that they can be authority without being a bully. And that and even people, as a principal, you have parents that come in and want to boss you around and tell you how to do things, or teachers or central office people that maybe aren't your boss. Wink, wink. There's people that are not your boss that are trying to tell you how to do your job. And frequently they feel as though the way to do it is to bully you into it. And if you allow yourself to be bullied, you're going to constantly be swimming upstream to try to fight that off. So it's best to stand up in a respectful and responsible way, to stand up for what you think is right, and make sure the sharks, in this case, understand that you're not going to be their bait for the weak.
And you made the point there. I think it makes our job even more difficult, because standing up to sharks doesn't mean calling their bluff, doesn't mean getting into a fight, doesn't mean doing what might feel good. It means handling the situation appropriately, as a building principal would have to handle the situation. 9.5 times out of 10, that's being the bigger person. It's making some concessions, at least in listening, and just kind of rolling with the punches with that. Teachers will say frequently to me, and I know you've heard it as well, and I'm sure all of you who are principals have heard it, "I couldn't do your job. There's no way I could not, go crazy on those parents." And it's like, well, that's why maybe I am doing the job. But part of standing up to the sharks is making sure the resolution protects your teachers and protects our superiors.
Because what he says is, don't back down from the sharks. He doesn't say kill the sharks. He's not saying you have to, barehandedly, with a knife in your mouth and long flowing mane, dive into the water and gut the shark all on your own. That'd go a little too much description. No, he's saying when they're taught that when the sharks approach them in the water, that they punch them in the nose, and that the shark will swim away, that the shark will leave them alone. So sometimes it's that metaphorical little bop in the nose that you need to give people sometimes when they're trying to bully you, or in this case, when they're trying to shark you, that, goes a long way. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to completely destroy them. You just need to demonstrate and to show them that you're not going to be pushed around.
I think a good one to close on is number 9, which is, so if you want to change the world, start singing when you're up to your neck in mud. And the theme of it is hope, in that when you're in your darkest hour, when things are their worst, can you still laugh? Can you still find hope in a hopeless situation?
Right.
Was it Rihanna who sings, "We found love in a hopeless
I don't know, but please don't sing. Yes, that is who that is.
But again, and I love and in no way are we trying to tie what we do to being in a.
We should have prefaced this entire thing by saying that, because not even hold a candle compared to what these guys are doing.
But the relationships you can draw, the parallels you can draw are very, I think, telling. And this one, maybe more than any, this one speaks to me in that there are days where I could honestly probably leave the building and say, man, the bad really outweighed the good. I mean,
some days you get the bar, and some days the bar gets you.
But on those tokens, I can look at that and at least say that I've laughed.
Right.
And a lot of times, and I will admit, and people who know me obviously know that my sense of humor is crass. I can be extremely inappropriate. But I do it in jest, I do it in fun, and I do it to keep some sort of levity with things, because we deal on a weekly basis with death, with angry people, with sad people, with broken situations that we have to fix, that we had no hand in breaking, and all the while with expectations of being a certain type of leader.
Right. If
you can't laugh at that, if you can't find the humor, if you can't find hope in these situations, you're done. It's over.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that's when I'm at my best in terms of humor, when things are their worst and the darkest, because you really need to have something that's going to get you through that. I had that situation a couple weeks ago that, I was just completely, totally beat up and distraught about, and I was making jokes about it with our boss, and he, couldn't believe that I was joking about it, but he knows me well enough now to know that, that's just my morbid sense of humor. But you have to find something like that gets you through. If it's singing, then singing. If it's joking, then joking. But whatever it is when you're in that situation to get you through it, is something that's very, very important, and you need to keep that in mind for sure.
Well, an example that speaks to that. One of my teachers, his name's Dr. Singleton, Jeff Singleton. He's also a minister. One of the most positive, intelligent people I've ever met. And he lost his 21-year-old daughter last year. And the reason this hits me now is that I had to write his evaluation today. So, one of the things I mentioned in his evaluation was he was an exemplar this year of someone who has been through the worst possible scenario. To me, losing a child, there's nothing worse than that, especially at the time in her life, all of that.
Right.
And yet he came to work every day. Is a big part of building the 6th grade center culture and being positive. And I look at that and say, if half the people in this building embraced his philosophy and his view of life, all the piddly stuff wouldn't matter, because people would have hope for what we do. Just amazing to me.
So the article again from lifebuzz.com that we're talking about here, 10 life lessons. What's that?
Life Buzz.
10 life lessons from a Navy SEAL, from Naval Admiral William H. McRaven. Is that McRaven or McRaven?
I'm saying McRaven.
I'm saying McLovin.
I like Raven, such a cool thing.
It does sound cooler, McRaven, but this guy's a badass either way, because he's a former Navy SEAL, so whatever he says, that's how you pronounce his last name.
Even though he did go to the University of Texas.
He went to the School of Hard Knocks.
Last Chance High?
Last Chance High, yeah.
We'll be back.
Thanks for helping RSP top the charts in the Edu podcast world. Keep it real with Twisted Steel and School Appeal.